Hi everybody and happy Tuesday. Welcome to Career Prep for Tuesday, September 22nd. Hope you had a great first week, and I'm sure you're very overwhelmed, so I won't say that I hope you aren't. Although I hope you are managing okay despite being overwhelmed. One thing that, before we launch into this week's content, one thing I really need to emphasize for this course is that the beginning of the semester is critical. And unlike some courses where you can kind of ease in, not participate for the first little bit, this course is the opposite. This course you need to be engaged, participating, on top of it at the beginning. As we get later in the semester, that's when it eases off. And that usually works out perfectly because that's when all your other courses are getting intense. So please, be active in the course content for the first half of this semester, especially these next 2 weeks. By now you should know that you need to apply for a co-op work permit, and that is basically an urgent situation. And this week and next week we're going to be dealing with resumes. So, and that is going to be your first major assignment, which is worth 25% of your mark. So please try to attend one of our online live learning sessions this week. They will be scheduled every week for, what did we agree on now? Let me get it straight. Tuesday and Wednesday afternoons at 2 p.m. And you can pick either of those times. So please, I hope to see you online one of those times this week so that you really can get into and make sure you understand this course content right off the bat. So without further ado, I am going to switch my screen here and direct you to just look at the post which I'm going to post below this video about subscribing to our class YouTube channel. That's where you'll find all the videos that I published on eCentennial, including these ones, all in one spot. And including our live learning sessions. So they will be on eCentennial, obviously, but if you want to watch all the videos for this class, you can subscribe to our HOSP-307 Fall 2020 YouTube channel and get them all there, if it's easy for you. So this week, you will notice an addition to our course contents, and that is an assignments folder. And I've populated this with 2 assignments. As I mentioned last week, your first assignment is applying for a co-op work permit. And I should have made more clear, this applies to international students only. If you are a domestic student, a citizen of Canada, a permanent resident, you do not need to apply for a co-op work permit in order to do your work integrated learning next semester. And you can disregard all references to that in this course. However, many of you are international students, and if you are an international student, you need a co-op work permit. You need to apply for it immediately. Please visit our page in our Week 1 module that is called Will This Week, and that has all the instructions that you need to apply for the permit. It has links to where you need to go, an instruction page, and contact information for the international office in case you need assistance. I cannot emphasize this enough. Failure to apply for a co-op work permit immediately by the deadline of Friday, October 9th could put your work integrated learning in jeopardy, which could lead to you not being able to complete it, having to defer your semester, or even worse, not getting a postgraduate work permit when you graduate. So please do not discount the importance of this small assignment, which is really just to give you 3% for completing this very important task. If you don't need a co-op work permit because you are a domestic student or a permanent resident, then you'll automatically get that 3%. Okay, back to the table of contents now. And the other assignment that you'll notice that I have published instructions on is your resume. And that is your first major assignment in this course. It's worth 25% of your grade. And I've got to be honest right up front, this is where students, for the most part, have the most difficulty with this course. This is the assignment that they struggle with the most. And it seems counterintuitive because, you know, it's a resume, many of you have one, but sorry, that doesn't mean it's a good one. And it doesn't mean that it follows, you know, the instructions that our industry thinks our industry looks for. So please pay attention to the week 2 and 3 content. We will be focusing on resume design this week, and next week in week 3 we'll be looking at the writing, the content of your resume. And then it will be due for submission at the end of week 4. I will put the due date in our course calendar. And you can find the rubric, the grading rubric for the resume linked right here. So as I introduce assignments, they will populate here in the assignments folder, and you can see they are all linked to the assignment outlines, to the Dropbox, to the grading rubric. So everything that you need to know for every assignment in this course will be in this section of our content page. For this week, if we go into our week 2 module, I've done a brief introduction of our work integrated learning team with our Will This Week page. Actually, because I've put a date on here, you're not going to be able to see it, so I'm just going to start with here. Okay. So for work integrated learning this week, again, I'm just reiterating the importance of applying for that co-op work permit immediately. I'm also introducing you to our work integrated learning coordinator, Sarika Smith. And you will hear from Sarika other times during the semester. She and I, as your program coordinator for work integrated learning, work very closely together. And we are responsible together for ensuring that our students get valuable learning opportunities that meet the learning outcomes of their courses and their programs at some point during their diploma program, usually in the 3rd or most often the 4th semester. And so part of this course is making sure you are geared up and prepared to embark on that journey in January as scheduled. You might have heard me say last week, or you might have missed it, and we don't know what is going to happen in January, but to hear more information on what we're planning and kind of what our options are going to be, you can revisit our week 1 content. So, other things we're focusing on this week is our resumes. And a resume is a very important document that you will send out to an employer to basically share with the employer what your skills, your experience, your education, your qualifications are for any job for which you might apply. And as I said earlier, many people, most people have a resume, but a lot of people have a really bad resume that doesn't land them a phone call for an interview. So we are going to work together this week on, kind of what makes a resume good or bad. And you will have this link to this Padlet here, and I've included instructions. Try to find just online, there are millions of them, a good versus a bad resume. Either find a good one or find a really bad one, and post a picture of it. You can zoom in, by the way. Post a picture of it and describe what you think makes it good or bad. And we're going to come back and review some of these together online next week. So if you could participate in that activity, that would be great. And then we launch into design. Now, it may seem backwards to design the resume first. I don't know why I like to do it this way, but I like to show you kind of the basics of laying it out so that you can work on that before we actually start writing the content. So that's why this week's module is about the importance of design. And I want to emphasize this, what we call an accordion here. This looks really, what's the word I'm looking for? Small? That's not the word. Compact. This looks very compact. But if you click on each of these headers, you will see information with links to videos and different activities that explain the concept that I'm reviewing. So we start with the header of the resume, which is what you write at the top. And if you click the link, then you get to a video that I've made showing kind of tips and tricks for how to write a good header, what you should include, what type of personal information to include, and how to represent it. And I hope that you'll find the videos are better than just reading, and because they actually demonstrate how you should be doing or applying the concepts. So please expand on each of these sections. Watch the videos that are linked. They don't all have linked videos, but a lot of them do. To get some tips for how to design your resume well. And then down below, I have an example resume, and if you click on each of these little icons, that gives you some tips for each of those sections. And some of those icons just have text, others have videos embedded into them. Here's an example of one that is a video. So if you click on each of these icons, that gives you tips for each of these sections. Now, keeping in mind that this week we're focusing just on what it looks like and how you arrange the information. Next week, we will follow up and talk about how to word all of these different bullets and how you're actually going to write it. But it's hard to do one before you do the other. And then at the bottom here, we have some details again on your resume assignment. You'll see that it is due in week 4. I'm going to make that due date the Friday at the end of the week. Your resume assignment is worth 25%. But please don't think of this just as an assignment or an exercise. This is your resume that is going to hopefully get you a job. So it's not just an assignment. It's not just an exercise. It is your resume that is going to be your representation in the career world. After working through our content this week and next week, hopefully along the way you are pausing and kind of creating your resume as you go. When we're finally done working through both of them, you'll submit your finalized resume to our eCentennial Dropbox, which is linked here. And I think that's it. So not too much content this week, but you have some work to do in starting your resume as you work through this week's content. So please take your time. At the end of this week's module, it's important that, again, you've applied for your letter of enrollment, which is the first step in applying for your co-op work permit, that you've contributed to the Padlet, so we're sharing some great and not so great resumes, that you've explored all the sections of that accordion file and watched the videos so that you can learn about designing each section of your resume, and that you've walked through all the information icons on that interactive resume for some tips, and that you begin work on your own resume. Next week we'll work on writing it and writing the content. And just a couple of heads up that your application, your proof of application for a co-op work permit is due in Dropbox by October 9th. So after you receive your letter of enrollment from the school, which by the way takes 10 days to arrive, so you should have applied last week already, you'll receive that letter of enrollment, and then you will use that to apply for the co-op work permit on the Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada website. After you submit your application, you can take a picture of your application status screen, or you can use the confirmation document that they send you. Basically, you can submit anything to Dropbox that shows me your name and proof of the date that you have applied for your permit, and that date must be on or before October 9th. Otherwise, you are going to be out of luck next semester. And a reminder that your resume assignment is going to be due week 4. So I hope this helps. Don't forget to keep an eye on our calendar here, where I have linked all of our live learning sessions. And if you, for example, wanted to attend on Wednesday afternoon, you would just click here, and that would access the Zoom link and the passcode for you. So I hope to see a whole bunch of you online either Tuesday afternoon, that's the same day you're receiving this message, or Wednesday afternoon to help begin work on your resumes. That's it for me for now. Have a wonderful day and week, and I look forward to seeing you soon.